So today we are going to be talking about the Australian beef prices doubling and how that affects us due to the tariffs that are being brought upon America. Now, look, this is kind of bizarre. When I first thought, I was like, there was a ban in 2003 of all American exports of beef to Australia due to like diseases or something. And then I looked at it a little bit closer, paying about $50 for a kilo of steak, all due to Donald Trump. So, wow. If you guys like this kind of stuff, let me know. But so let's get into it. A kilogram at Woolies currently is selling for $28, as stated here in the MSN. I'll highlight it for you. But what I found really interesting is when I was reading through this before, the Tammy Jonas spokeswoman stated that due to the influx on tariffs, running for people on Australia and the rest of the world are going to be trading less and less with America, which is kind of what Donald Trump wants. But they also want us to do exports. But if you got tariffs and you're forcibly doing them, you're going to have less people wanting to import to your country and make money. So therefore, I believe in the next 4 years, and if Trump gets this third term win, which I don't see why he can't. There's a bunch of laws against it, but it's happened before in the past, I guess. That America's economy might go up for a while, but will eventually crumble, even worse than currently is. Now, it says here, American tariffs of agriculture imports would see more countries buy Australian beef to avoid trading with the US. That one sentence alone is going to influx the demand on meat, and when you're dealing with exports, it's going to cost Australia, like Australian citizens, heaps, due to more people wanting Australian beef. Australian beef is, really rich, really understanding, and it won't no longer be a family. She states here, it's not a family dinner. That's a premium luxury at $50 per kilogram. It's going to be really annoying for a lot of Australians who are still struggling to pay their rent. I feel for you. But what I'm really concerned about is that there's going to be a lot of money coming into Australia, but it's not going to go into the pockets of everyday citizens. It's going to go into capitalists and the Liberal Party, because it's a lot of right-wing shit. Australia to make a heap ton of money, and then it's going to also make Australians even poorer than what they are right now. So there is more to this. Even if we had sold enough beef within Australia, the prices are certainly going to go up. This means all across the world wants Australian beef. This sentence is what I'm fearing because I like my beef, and that means prices at Macca's, their price is going to go up. The price that other food chains, everything's going to go up. It means you can no longer go out to eat, which I'm assuming you're already struggling to if you're an Australian. If you're not, good on you. But everything's going to go up. Everything. And it's all Trump's fault. Now, you might watch this and go, oh, well, so what? If you don't know politics, generally the blue party and the red party, I'm going to go, Liberal parties are, I'm going to go, the blue parties, blue parties usually want to help economically. Red party, capitalists, they want to help themselves. And they're going to tell you, hey, you can join us, working class, if you do XYZ. But they're going to take all your money. They're going to rise up the tax. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure they're selling less, and you're making less and they're making more. They don't want to help you. Now, back to Australian beef prices. We produced record volumes past last year. I don't see why there should be a shortage in the domestic market that will cause a rise. He told Daily Motion, this is Angus Gidley Bard, senior analyst in animal protein and Bravo research. Expensive steak at the supermarket is unlikely, but if you know Coles and Woolies, they're going to do it just to make more money. It's what they do, which really sucks. The exports are effectively our markets that will sell additional production into. This is going to make more money for Australia, but not for us, like citizens. It's going to go all into the pockets of farmers, which, yes, they deserve it, especially if they're small farmers, but, you know, more and more people are starting to save, which means the economics in the world are going to, sorry, not in the world, in Australia, are going to shrink, because if there's not as much money going into the economy, there's not much money coming out of the economy. Of beef sent to the United States, 96% of it was leaner, grass-fed variety, and either chilled or frozen, which is crazy. Americans have been in a grip of drought, and most of their beef is fattier and grain-fed. That means our beef is much better than the Americans, but, you know, well. South American beef exporters Argentina and Brazil are also dealing with a lack of rainfall, which means demand for Australian beef will continue to be strong. So any other beef exports during the world is going to be less wanted than ours. Hence why Australia is going to make more money on exports, but also it's not going to go back into the hands of the economy. It's not going to go back into your hands somehow. The US still continues to need imported products because they're not producing as much as themselves. So even though Trump's saying, yeah, we're going to make America great again, we're going to, make America have its own economy, work off its own economy, we're going to do this. They can't even do this. It's pretty much impossible for them to feed themselves on beef. Now, with their other thing, I would say with their corn, their potatoes, everything else they do, I assume they would be able to feed themselves, but they're going to have a lot of angry people. It's going to lead to relative poverty, which means their next door neighbor is going to have one thing that they want, but they're not. So relative poverty in basic essence is, your new neighbor has a car, you want a car, blah blah blah. They need the product, and they're one of the biggest suppliers of it. Being rational, would still say that they would still buy it. This is in comments. US wants to buy our meat. The US as a whole wants to buy our meat, but Trump's not going to let that happen without making an extra bit of money, which is also going to still rise up the prices and probably not fix up their country. But, Trump does what Trump does. Trump does what Trump wants. Strong demand for grass-fed beef has pushed up prices. Australian lean mince now selling for $15.50 a kilo at Woolworths, which, when I was younger, I remember it being $7 a kilo, even cheaper. The US market has been very strong. It's demanding fair amount of the product, which is putting a bit of pressure on mince prices, lean products prices, Mr. Gridley Bard said. Alright, the Australian Sovereignty Alliance sees mince prices more than doubling to $36 a kilo for minced meat. $15 is hell, but $36 for minced meat. That means, half your meals gone, wiped, out of the blue, never to be seen again. You're gonna have to be relying on potatoes. But wait, they're going up in price too. You're gonna be eating bloody potatoes and rice for the next 20 years if this keeps going. This also goes with the undersupply of housing and everything else. It's mayhem for Australia, and I really, really hate it. Look, if you guys enjoyed this, please leave me a thing down below. But if you guys got any questions on this, I just think this is horrendous. But if you've got any questions on this, let me know. Leave me a text down, not text. Leave me a comment down below. We'll talk about it in the comments, and I do have another video coming out today or tomorrow. See you guys. I hope you have a good one.